Right, so before I even get the gear ready, I'm going to feed the swim with a few pouches of hemp and put some maggot through. Just basically just to prime the swim. So when I come to make the first trot, there's already a bit of bait going through. Again, feeding it downstream and hoping to get bites in that last bit there. So yeah, I'm going to put a couple of pouches of hemp in and a few good pouches of maggot and then set the rod up. Hello and welcome to this week's angling blog. Today you join me finally on the banks of the river. There's a window of opportunity this morning. The river's dropped to a level where I think you could fish a float. We're out today product reviewing the Honor Piscifun reel. You'll see that on a separate video because that'll be a short video on its own, and we're out testing it for chub today. So that's the reel. I've got 4 pound 4 ounce Drennan float fish, my 17-foot carbon active Preston rod, 17 foot, a 16 size 16 hook, a 2-1 bottom. I've got the shots as a bulk so it'll bounce along the sandy bottom, and I've got a 10, if we can get it in the shot, a 10 number 4, and that's a dome top float, obviously going over shallow water. So that's the setup for today. Let's have a look at the side tray and the swim and how I'm going to tackle it today. Right, so this is the swim for the day. As you can see, bit of pace on it. Going to be standing up today. I want to keep that rod high off the water, and as you can see it's quite pacey down the middle. Right, on the YouTube section of the blog, it's been fantastic all the comments that the videos get every week on the different types of video that we make. Last week a guy asked me why did he use hemp. I think it was on Twitter, I think he asked. The reason I use hemp is it's a lot heavier than the maggots. So the hemp like that will hold on the bottom and hold the fish where I want them. It's heavier, so it will take longer to move through the swim, and the fish just pick at it and it keeps the fish in the area I want them. And while they're there picking that up, the maggots are going through the swim and they pick them up. So yeah, I get the hemp from Cheshire Particle, and I made my own hemp for a number of years, but this stuff, it freezes well. I split it down into pint bags when I get it, and as you can see there's a few tears in there that I've put in as well, and you can see the quality of it. Does a great job, does Mark. And yeah, if you're looking at getting some hemp, I'll drop a link down to Cheshire Particle in the description because it is fantastic stuff. One thing with rivers is they're not places to be taken lightly. They can look very beautiful at times and very serene. I mean, you look at that, it can look very serene. What I always do, this time of year especially, is put a stick in the ground like that, and say on the water level line. And what that will do, because we've had rain this morning when I come, it'll give you an early indicator as to what's happening with the river. It could be up here later, up by there, by that mark is there by me welly, could well be up there. And believe it or not, rivers can actually flood really quickly and you can get caught out. Many a time I've been on the river and yeah, a deluge has come down and you've had to run up the bank to get off your peg. So that gives you an early indicator. You keep looking down there, and it'll also give you an indicator if it's dropping. We could come to that back to that later on, and it could be another couple of inches down. But yeah, always think of your safety. They're not places to be taken lightly, rivers. And on that subject of not taking rivers lightly, I always remember when my dad took me to the river. We were catching fish, and then I looked at the charts one day and the river was well up, and my dad said, come on, we're going fishing. And we got in the car, and I didn't have any tackle with me at all. He said, we don't need any tackle today. And we went through to the river, and it was bank high and bombing through. and that was a lesson that day. And he said the lesson that day was to see what the river was like and what it is capable of. They are beautiful places, like I've just said, but yeah, always worth coming the river when it's in flood, you know, in full flood, just to see the power and what the river can be like. Very dangerous places, so take care when you're on the banks. And that little tip there that I just give about putting a stick in the ground, very good one. It's helped me a couple of times when I've noticed it's coming up, and you can make a decision to move before it's too late and you're scurrying up the bank. So yeah, let's get back to the fishing. There we are, bent solid into the first chub of the day. Fantastic stuff. I'd say it's taken probably 2 hours to get the first bite. Yeah. And that can be chub fishing sometimes. It's about, you know, getting the chub where you want them, and yeah, it's only a small little chublet. The first fish of the day, I'm more than welcome, and say where there's one, there's more, and we'll see if we can get another one. But that's 2 hours of trotting, but I know there's more down there to be had. So yeah. And there we go, number two. I say when they line up, they line up. As I said, once you get them going, once you find where they are in the swim, you can begin to try and target them. And as I say, we are out today testing this reel. Like you see, just ticking over nicely. When that fish is pulling, the reel's just taking the lunges. And there we go. That's chub number 2 of the day. I need a proper one. Thick as a barrel. And yeah, winter chub. As I say, if it can handle fish like this, it's doing something right, isn't it? And I say second chub of the day, and we'll get that one in the net. And saying that's chubbing. It took 2 hours to get a bite, and then we've had 2 in 10 minutes. So yeah, I'm pretty sure there's going to be more down there, but that is a lovely chub. Fin perfect example of the species, and obviously the massive cake hole. So let's get him in the keep net and see if there's any more down there. Right, and there we go. Chub number, I think it's 4 of the day. And like I've said on previous videos, chub as a species, once they lose the caution, aren't the hardest to catch. They're very crafty, and you know, they can be quite elusive at times, but once you get them lined up on the bait, yeah, the greed takes over. And now the key is obviously feeding the swim rightly to keep these in the swim and not to lose one. So yeah, that's number 3 or 4 of the day. Let's get it in the net. That little shoal of chub down there, which we're happily, you know, picking off maggots all over the place on that. For the next bit, we're going down to that. And that shoal will be competing now, and when your one goes through with them, you start to pick them up quite regular. The key is, and I say, the water here is only about 2 foot deep. Out there it's about 4 down the outside. The key is here, and it's paramount, is not to lose one. You lose a fish here and it can spook the whole shoal and take you another hour or 2 to get them back. And that's why I use that. It's well spaced out, the fish are in it, and it stops them going back out there to spook the shoal. and it works. And there's a lot of people say it doesn't, a lot of people say it does. From my experience, if you want to get a net of chub, a keep net's the way to go, and not losing one down here is going to be paramount. So yeah, let's see if we can get another one. With trotting, you want to keep that bait in the zone where you've been getting the bites as long as you can. So with that finger there, just keep letting the line off, and as you can see, pays off some line, hold it back, let it go, just keep inching it through the swim, and it's all done with that finger there, like that, just inching it through the swim, just letting off a couple of turns of line, hold back and let it go. A proper test for the reel now, because just hooked a proper chub. You see there's a proper bend in the rod, and I've hooked it right on the tree, so the reel now is completely locked. I say, so this is a proper chub. As soon as it felt solid, proper ranked the drag up, so it was, you know, tight to give it no line at all. Right, and there we go. You have to excuse a bit of the repetitiveness on the channel on these two videos. Obviously I can't do one, when I get a fish I can't do talking about the reel and the blog at the same time. So on that one there was a little clip that I did, and whether it'll make the actual review, I don't know, but that chub was alongside a tree. It was the float buried under, I thought snag, and then it kicked, and yeah, a proper bully of a chub. Yeah, lovely colours. It's got gold on its gill plate, and because of the floods, very silvery in colour. But yeah, February for me is pike and chub season and dace. You know, if we get on one of the bigger rivers we'll get some dace, but for me February will always be hunting them special pike and admiring chub, because next season, it'll all, next month it'll all be over for another year. So yeah, let's get this lovely fish back with the rest of them, and yeah, a proper bully of a chub. Right, just to elaborate further on that point that I was just making there about, you know, holding the bait in the zone longer, you'll get a bit of the swim where you get all your bites, and the finger on the line keeps it in that area for longer. What you got to remember is on a river, for all fish, it's constantly flowing, so food's always coming past, and that fish at that moment when them maggots are going past it, it's got a decision: eat or let it go past. By holding it back, you're giving it longer to think about it, and you know, fish have got to eat to survive. They're constantly swimming against the flow on a river, and that is why on rivers you get good sport all year round, and in winter sometimes the best sport. The fish are tightly shoaled and they're hungry because they're constantly, you know, using energy to fight the flow. And yeah, so holding it in the area like that, just the top of your finger like that, let it go, hold it back, and the float will just rise a bit, and then let it go. And very often when you let it go on that drop is when you get the bite, because the bait is just fluttering back down to the bottom. So yeah, that's how I do it when I'm stick float fishing. Some people pull line from the reel all the time, which is another way of doing it, but me, just use the finger on the top of the spool. Right, so someone commented on one of the recent videos about the box that I use and the tackle that's in it. So quite simply, that is the box that I use, the Preston on box. The foot plate's off it because that's where all your weight is in it for when I'm on the river. They're just for carrying it. And let's have a look inside it. Let's say if we get the top tray out, that's the top tray that I carry. I say I've been in it today, so some say it's organised chaos sometimes, isn't it? Well, there's all my shots. I've got 2 of them on me thing at the moment, so normally carry number 4s, number 8s, and that's fantastic, that for your float fishing, all your weights in one go. all manner of hooks, so 18s, 16s, and what I do is I pick up a packet near enough every time I go, and I say this time of year they're all whisker barbed. Hook length material 1/7, and obviously I've got the 2/1 on me bait tray. Rubbers for obviously putting your float on. Always get the ones that stretch, not the ones that are hard, because the ones that are hard they break, they deteriorate really fast. The rubber ones that are like silicone are the ones you want. In this one here I've got all my olivettes for me bollo fishing, more silicone bits, feeder beads. I found that the other day when I was a kid. That is from when I was a kid, when I used to fish the canal. I got that from Devon in a pack of 3 and I never caught out on it. I don't know why it's in there. More hook length material, and there's all my floats. In this one, like I said, it comes undone. As you can see in it, there's all manner of floats, and that just protects them, because obviously, yeah, you don't want to damage them. They can last you a long time, river floats especially, because your hook length normally goes before anything. In the bottom tray we've got a couple of winders, more line, hooks to nylon, and then in this side all my feeders and my bait droppers and stuff like that. Just a few of them. The other ones are in the other box. And then obviously, I'm say at the bottom is a deep compartment where I can put all my bait, and it goes out every week, every day of the week, every session that I go out, it's on the bank with me. It's a tough bit of kit. It takes all the battering, and you see on the blog I go fishing quite a lot, and this does go everywhere with me when I'm silver fishing. So yeah, and so you don't need a lot. When it's river season, obviously there'll be more method feeders in that lot come the summer, but on the theory of why carry it, stick float fishing, you don't need that much tackle, so why carry it all on your back? You might as well leave it at home and be organised and take what you need. But yeah, that is the tackle box that I take with me. Right, finally got a bit of cover, cloud cover come over. We've got about half an hour of the session left. See if we can winkle out one more before the end, now this cover's come over. Got a good chance as we move into that last witching hour, so fingers crossed. See if we can just winkle out one more and then call it a day. There we go. Another bend in the rod, a solid bend in the rod that time. Like I say, that come right level with the tree, so when that sun's come out, they've fallen into the snag. Like I say, when you do that, you just got to go in after them. Like I say, this is probably going to be the last fish of the day, because I'm out tomorrow with my uncle, and I need to go and get some bait, and we are moving into obviously the last hour. Like I say, we'll call this the last one, and then we'll have a look at the net. Like I say, he was hanging right on the tree. Like I say, it just feels good to have that bend in the rod again. This year has probably been the worst year for river fishing that I can remember, with the amount of rain that we've had. As soon as the rivers have come back down, they've gone back into flood again. So you have to make the most of these windows of opportunity. And I say it could rain again tonight. and the river where we're stood now will be underwater. Windows of opportunity you've got to make the most of. Let's get this guy unhooked and have a look at him. Right, so there's that final fish. As you can see there, he's got a mouthful of maggots. He's been sitting in that snag and just moving from side to side, picking up any maggots that go past him. Since that sun's come out, he's probably been sat in there for the last hour or two, having a good feed. But yeah, as that cloud cover's come, he's moved a bit too far from his snag this time, and he's fell for the maggot. So let's get him in the net and have a look at that final net. We would have had a few fish. As I say, I haven't got my scales today, so I won't know how many we've had, but let's have a look at that final net. Right, like so many anglers, one last cast never happens, does it? I just had to have a few more runs through, and 2 or 3 more through, a proper chevin, and he did fight in that flow. And I say, beautiful fish, and that is a, you know, a nice chub to end the session on. So yeah, let's have a look at that final net of fish that we've had. We've had many, but I think it'll be a nice looking net. Right, and there's the final net. I think there's about 10 chub in there of varying sizes, and yeah, an enjoyable session on the bank. And I say, I've not got my scales with me today, so it's hard to, you know, get an estimated weight. It's easily over £10, £10–15 maybe, but yeah, an enjoyable day on the stick float. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time. Right, and it's time for these fish to go back. There you go, matey. Back they go. It's a nice one. Lovely fish, that one. Little chublet. Another. See, that's a lovely one, that one. Back you go, matey. A nice little baby one.